Welcome to my next Mr. Robot Season 1 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important. If you haven't watched the first 9 episodes of Mr. Robot Season 1 already, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And full disclosure, this is actually my first time watching the show Mr. Robot. Heard a lot about it over the years. Finally decided to check it out and even do review videos on top of that. For the most part, I really like the show so far. Some of it is a little hard to understand, but I eventually pick things up. It might take me till the next episode to pick things up. So I like it a lot. So join me on the journey. Let's discuss this awesome and amazing show in the comments section. But don't spoil anything that happens past this episode due to the fact that I haven't seen the show before. So with all that said, this will be Mr. Robot Season 1, Episode 9. The title of this episode is a computer file that essentially says mirroring. And this will be my first time watch review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. We start with a flashback to a computer and accessory store owned by Edward Alderson, sitting at the desk with a calendar for October 1994 nearby. His jacket says Mr. Robot, and that's the name of his store. He gets a call from a customer, suggests a few options to upgrade his system, and invites him to bring it in. Then a dissatisfied customer comes in. When he was there earlier buying something, Edward's son stole a $20 bill from the money he had on the counter. He wants his money and an apology, but he is snotty enough about it that Edward just says, "No, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." The customer sputters for a while, tosses out a few insults, and says he'll take his business to Best Buy, but he leaves. Edward sighs and then asks his son, young Elliot, to come out from the back room. Elliot says he didn't do it, but when Edward puts out his hand, Elliot gives him the $20 bill. So Edward picks up the movie section of the newspaper and suggests a movie they could go see together. Elliot goes to get his jacket, and Edward spends a while coughing. When Elliot comes back, he asks his father why he's not in trouble. Edward says, "Even though what you did was wrong, you're still a good kid, and that guy was a prick. Sometimes that matters more." They lock up the store and head to the movies. My kind of bad. Dad, go to the movies. That's all I care about. And then we go back to present time. Mr. Robot has come to Elliot's apartment, and Elliot is beside himself. His father is alive and here with him again. Mr. Robot is all casual about it, but then Elliot is enraged. "Why didn't you tell me?" Mr. Robot explains they had important stuff to get done, and he had to handle Elliot gently to finish, and he also needs Elliot to be quiet now. Elliot starts yelling again. This is the right voice to use. 20 years after your supposed death, and Mr. Robot gets him to quiet down. We don't want them to hear us. Looking outside, Mr. Robot and Elliot do see at the curb a black van and 2 men in suits sort of watching Elliot's apartment. Mr. Robot explains the people out there don't want him alive. They want Elliot to keep taking his pills to forget his own sister, to stay under control and keep Mr. Robot from existing. Elliot wants answers about himself, about Darlene, about Mr. Robot, but Mr. Robot says it's not safe to discuss it here. Elliot needs to follow Mr. Robot to get the answers, and they leave. Gideon is at home getting dressed as his partner, Harry Davis, is trying to calm him down and get him to share what's going on. Gideon explains that, as everyone knows, Allsafe got hacked, and for many companies it's a nuisance, but for a security company it's a disaster. He doesn't know how they can survive if they keep their customers. Gideon feels like a failure, but Harry says this relationship they have, that's not what failure looks like. Antara Noyar is in her office assigning tasks to her assistants when Angela walks in. Antara says the research is going great, and Angela says she came to help since she no longer has a job. Antara says Angela can't work here. It's not Antara's job to give Angela's purpose in life. She should go find something else to do. Angela's phone rings, and it's Darlene. She's looking for Elliot, and she's worried that he's flipping out again. Angela was the one who helped him in the last time he was like this, so they agree to get together, or to go together, I should say. They meet at the museum with the big map of New York City. It's a place Angela remembers where she and Elliot would always go when he ran away. But he's not there, and Angela has no insight on his whereabouts. Darlene is worried that Elliot is in serious mental trouble, but Angela wonders why Darlene should care. It's like the two siblings were never that close. Darlene says she has to help her. He's her brother, but Angela feels there's something else really going on. And if Darlene won't talk about it, fine. She doesn't need to help, or she doesn't need Angela's help. Mr. Robot and Elliot are waiting for a train to New Jersey. Elliot says he doesn't know where they are going, but they may be after Darlene. There's a man in black suit nearby who initially looks suspiciously interested in Elliot until they see his interest was in another woman among the passengers. Mr. Robot says they can't see Darlene right now. It's too risky, but he'll show Elliot exactly where I've been this whole time. And then on the train, Elliot thinks, I'll figure this out. I know you don't trust me. I'm remembering more and more. He hopes that once he gets the answers, he'll be back to normal, except for his dead father not being dead. Then in the hospital room, we have Joanna Wellick is in bed with the newborn baby in the carrier next to it, and Tyrell is also there. She talks about how much she loves the new baby and also how she loved her first, a girl born when she was 15 years old. Tyrell is surprised. It's news to him, but she talks about filling out lots of forms and passing the baby off to new parents. Tyrell says she should have told him he loves her, but she says, you're not the man I want to be married to any longer. If you want to remain in this family, you'll fix this. Gideon approaches Blank's disc and discovers to be a burned out shell surrounded by firefighters and police tape. He talks to the owner, who was away for one day and came back to find everything gone. Gideon is there for some drives, but everything was burnt up. Tyrell gets to his office to find Philip Price waiting for him. Philip asks, and Tyrell says, it was a boy. Anyway, Price says E-Corp is in the delicate state, and the situation with Sharon Knowles is horrific. Scott is understandably devastated, but the police have indicated that Tyrell is a person of interest. Price understands Scott and Tyrell have competitive frictions, and that Scott nabbed the CTO position away from Tyrell, and it's natural for Scott to lash out at Tyrell, but Scott will remain at E-Corp, and Tyrell can't. Tyrell is enraged, saying how he's killed himself for the company, how he was promoted faster than any, and such. Philip is frankly disappointed by Tyrell's response. It could have been done a different way, but it didn't. His advice to Tyrell is to look back at his recent past, find a mistake, a compulsion, decision, something that led you to this point right now, and go recognize it and deal with this failure. Tyrell is walking along the E-Corp hallways and is approached again by police detectives. They still want answers. He tells them to talk to his lawyers and walks out. Elliot and Mr. Robot have broken into the old house and the family once had. Elliot has led Mr. Robot to his old bedroom upstairs. He goes to the window to the backyard and comments that it was where it happened. Mr. Robot doesn't get it, so Elliot grabs him and pushes him through the window, breaking it and leaving Mr. Robot suspended half out of the window. Elliot says that's why Mr. Robot did. You pushed me out the window. You pushed me out off the boardwalk. Mr. Robot says to calm down. It was an accident, but Elliot is having none of that. He was 8 years old and his dad thought he deserved it. Mr. Robot says no, it was Elliot who thought he deserved to fall. Elliot felt guilty for revealing his father's secret. He pleads with Elliot to stop being angry with himself. Elliot says, you're right. I was angry at myself. I'm ready to let it go. He lets go of Mr. Robot, who falls to the concrete below. Angela's at her dad's home, and Donald comes home. He mentions that Darlene is back in town, and Angela asks where. Gideon is in his office at Allstate on the phone to the Duels data center. They are saying that they have an order to remove server 3 C3 CS30 from the honeypot, and Gideon says it needs to stay on Allsafe got hacked yesterday. Someone unauthorized must have made that request, but Dulles needs to keep CS30 off the real network, or something's going to happen. But the Dulles staff say there is an order form from Tyrell Wellick to put CS30 back on the network. They have to follow that. Angela goes to her family's old home. The new family seems to be out, and she finds Darlene there, still searching for Elliot. Angela's old house was a possibility. Then they hear the dad of the new family arriving and rush out the back door and look and down the alley away from the house. They look down and notice they are walking through the broken glass. They look up and see a broken window on the house next door. Was that Elliot's room? Elliot assists Mr. Robot, who is limping and has cuts and bruises on him. They arrive at the cemetery. Elliot doesn't know why, but that's where Mr. Robot is leading them. Mr. Robot stops and rests against a headstone when Angela and Darlene appear. Running towards them, Mr. Robot tells Elliot he wanted to tell Elliot earlier, but things got too accelerated at the end. But now he feels Elliot to understand that Mr. Robot will always be right here for him. They are going to try and get rid of Mr. Robot again, but they won't succeed, and he needs Elliot to keep them from succeeding. Mr. Robot sits down in a grave. Elliot and Darlene arrive, and Elliot asks them what Mr. Robot was talking about. He's very agitated. I want to know, Darlene gently asks. Elliot, who are you talking to? Elliot looks down at the grave, and there's nobody there. It's the grave at Edward Alderson, 1949 to 1995. Also, it's now noticed that the cuts that Mr. Robot had before, Elliot now has. He's looking dazed and confused. He and the girls also notice that he's bleeding, but he says, "You didn't see him?" He thinks, this can't be happening. This is happening, isn't it? Now he isn't looking so confused. He's confident in what he thinks. You knew all along, didn't you? You're going to make me say it, aren't you? I'm Mr. Robot. Elliot, Angela, and Darlene are at the train stop for the train to New York. Angela assures Elliot that he'll be all right, but says he's very far from all right. The train arrives and Elliot and Darlene get on board. As they ride, Darlene says, though Elliot doesn't want to talk about she has to ask if Elliot remembers what they were doing when they first started F Society. Gideon arrives at Tyrell's office to discover his assistant packing up. She says that Tyrell was let go today. She doesn't really know why, but he was hard to deal with. Gideon asks if he can get in to see Scott Knowles, and she says, "Oh no, definitely not now. Haven't you heard?" It's night, and Angela arrives home and finds out her dad, Donald, sitting with Terry Colby and some lawyers. As she arrives, Donald excuses himself, and Colby sends his lawyers outside. Angela asks if this is about the case, and it isn't. Colby has lawyers to deal with that. This is about Angela. Colby is impressed with what Angela did. She played a good short game and got what she wanted. Angela is relentless and smart, and Colby says he knows someplace someone like that could go places. The people he knows can get her into E-Corp. Angela's surprised. She is suing E-Corp, and Colby will be testifying against them. Colby explains, in business, grudges aren't a thing. The people he knows recognize her true value. She rejects the idea of working there. They killed my mother. He says if she wants to change things, try within and let them know by tomorrow. She looks thoughtful. Elliot and Darlene are at his apartment. He is slouching on the couch while she goes through his meds. Lots of empty bottles. He says he fills the prescriptions and dumps the pills. He's bothered about what's real, but she wants to get to his meds so he can feel better. He's rather run down and not the vibrant figure who thought I'm Mr. Robot. He suggests maybe they should stop the entire plan and hack all that stuff. Darlene says, "Hey, it's all ready to run once infected server gets back on the network. Anyway, it was all really his idea from the start, the reasons and the goal, and they are all worthwhile." She leaves to go get his meds. Then the apartment door slowly opens. It's Tyrell Wellick. Elliot jumps up, astonished, but Tyrell comes in. He's not being dominant or aggressive. He's furtive, ready to be spooked. He says he's been waiting outside the apartment until Darlene left, but he wants to talk to Elliot. He knows he's the one behind all of it. F Society, the server, Colby, all safe, all of it. Elliot's doing. Calmed down now, Tyrell takes off his coat and says he doesn't know Elliot's grand plan, but Elliot is going to tell him. He sits down and pulls out his latex gloves over his hands as he says that 2 days ago he strangled a woman to death with just his hands. It was strange, at first uncomfortable, but then she struggled and he felt absolute power, and that moment he has stayed with him. At that, he gets up and goes into Elliot's personal space. He smiles. Elliot just stares at him. The lights come on at the F Society hideout as Tyrell and Elliot walk in. It's now a calm and gentle moment they're having together. No threats or bombcasts. Tyrell is full of wonder as he wanders among the gambling or gaming machines and then the work tables with their computers. He asks what's going on. Elliot explains that they are encrypting all of E-Corp's financial files, and the encryption key will self-delete when it's done, and all the backups too. Tyrell asks who was involved, and Elliot says, "Just me." Tyrell says, "Now it's you and me. I've always told you we'd end up working together, Elliot. But still, I have to know. Why did you do it?" Elliot looks around. "I don't know. I wanted to save the world." And that's what ends this episode of Mr. Robot. So I'll score it a 9.0 out of 10. Really good episode. The character of the episode is going to be Elliot. So that's really all I have to say. A lot of notes taken in this episode. You've heard all I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Mr. Robot and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button, share this video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of Mr. Robot. What would you rate it, and who would you choose as the character of the episode? And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel. Help me get over 100K subscribers. Yes, I know I set my goals high. Join the team, share your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.